He's guided my steps. You know this story, but it bears repeating. God guided my steps here to LBC. I had no knowledge of LBC when we determined we were going to move to Flower Mound, Texas. When we bought our home in Flower Mound, it was because Linda's dad was here, and I said we need to draw a radius around that 15 minutes max so that we can visit him every day. And so we bought our home 10 minutes away from LBC. But we didn't know about LBC. God did, so we bought that home. I had planned to retire from the pastorate, and everything was in order. And then all of a sudden a friend reaches out and says, Ken, I hear you're moving to Texas. I don't have a clue how this friend heard I was moving to Texas. I hadn't made it public yet. But somehow he had heard, and he goes, you really need to check out LBC. They need a pastor. So I reached out. LBC had been praying for a pastor. I started praying about whether I should be that pastor. I didn't know at that point. And then they reached out. They brought me down on September something, 23rd or something like that. And I was allowed to preach here. Went back home, waiting to hear from LBC, and I get the call on Monday from John. He says, we really want you to come be our pastor. And I said, I give me a couple days. And I wasn't completely up front with John at that point, because the issue that I was waiting on was a diagnosis from my oncologist. And I got the diagnosis from my oncologist on Friday. And they said I have MDS, and it will progress. It will get worse. And I made a mistake. I didn't seek the Lord as fully as I should have. My heart was overwhelmed, and I said, okay, I can't be a pastor. I can't put a body of believers through that journey that they anticipate for me. So I wrote an email, one of the toughest things I've ever done, saying, I need to decline your offer. And here's why. But God was still guiding my steps. And he put it on the heart of the elders here to say, wait a minute, we can be creative with this. We can offer him the position, and we can reduce the workload so that as his MDS kicks in at times, it's okay. And so they divvied up some of the responsibilities. They brought Brother Ken back on. They gave him some of the responsibilities. They gave some to Don, and they go, we can make this work. And I am eternally grateful that God guided my steps here to LBC. And even when it feels like he may not be there, he will never leave us nor forsake us.
Amen.